Hello and welcome back to Lego City Undercover. First of all, we're just going to finish a few things that we started last time. So let's finish off these colour gun puzzles for the farm. There's one we didn't start, which is those, turning the hay bales yellow like they should be. But also there's these blue things we've just finished there, the wheelbarrows. One thing I do quite like is that in case you don't have the super colour gun, it does give examples of these objects in the area, so you can see what colour you're going for. For example, you'll see a few blue wheelbarrows around, so you can kind of guess that the wheelbarrows need to be blue. That's the sort of clue I quite like with this game. It gives you that kind of visual hint on what it wants you to do. And this is one of the things the gardener can do. He can grow these flowers you can use as platforms, and a few other things as well, like the vines you saw earlier in the game. Like a sneak peek of this job a little bit from that guy when we were chasing down the clown. So here's another one of these hay bales. This area can be really hard to find these things in because they are so sparse and so hidden behind everything, and there's a lot of stuff to look behind despite the size of the area. But we've got that dealt with now. We have unlocked quite a few tokens, so let's go pick them up. I was just making sure on that one. So here's the character token we just unlocked. It was the, I believe the wheelbarrows. Give us the Highland Battler. And here is the final scarecrow. Yeah, this field's so big it has 2 spawn points for this thing. For these things rather, that's kind of ridiculous. So let's go pick them up now. Again, the farm is a little overly big for its own good. Each of these fields could have done with being a little smaller. Because as it is, navigating, if you don't know where you're going, is a little bit of a pain. But here we finally get a good look at Stinky Fletcher, who was persona non grata for most of the game, and get a new character, B. Heckerson, who never really appears in the game. She's just kind of a character model. We finally get to see what's under here as well. So let's just pick this up while we're here. Since we are at the museum, hence, because this is where the plot wants us to go, if we remember last time, Vinny Pappalardo wanted us to break in here so that we could steal a giant robotic T-Rex for his benefactor.
Ellie, I'm at the museum, but I don't see a way in.
Yeah, I checked the blueprints. The only way in is from the rooftop, but there's no way to climb up there.
It's okay. I've got an idea. Are there any taller buildings around here which can be climbed?
Maybe the art gallery. Why?
I just got hold of a chicken. I can use it to glide from the art gallery's roof to the museum's.
Wow, that is not a sentence I thought I'd hear today. Good luck, Chase.
I love the delivery of that line, just how proud he sounds at, "I've got a chicken." That's a fairly simple one, I quite like that one. You don't really need all the puzzles to be complicated or to have multiple parts. Sometimes it's just little things like that, like restoring an ancient statue. Not really police work, he's not really a museum curator, but I'll take it. So let's finally climb this art gallery. We just need to find a way up there. And the game was nice enough to show us the starting point at least.
Of course.
I like this segment of the game because things kind of escalate in a way that's kind of amusing. You'll see what I mean by that towards the end of the video, but just trust me that this is definitely well worth it. So, first of all, let's just water these plants so that we can find our way up there. The red one, of course, is the plot plant, but the blue ones, they're just kind of there for the extra studs, really. But I kind of like the symmetry, so let's get a few flowers going as well. So while they're there, we might as well use them. There we go. We already have a disgusting amount of studs, but that will only get more and more ridiculous as our multiplier gets bigger. And oh, we have barely begun to multiply. Times 8 in these games is nothing. It's pauper money, that. So here we are. Another shopping centre of colours. Wrong costume, that was my bad. That sometimes happens. The colour wheel can be a little, I can be a little trigger happy on it sometimes and end up skipping past the costume I wanted. But that's just on me though, that's entirely my fault. There's not really anything on this floor of the museum, there's literally nothing around, there's just a big kind of circuit around the entire building, which is really boring and has nothing to actually pick up in it. All it is studs. So I'm skipping that entire thing. There's just no point. Oops. There's just no point. But yeah, these things can be kind of tricky to climb up if you don't realise just a basic jump will get you up here, because you can often overcorrect because of the weird shape. These kind of platforms are always kind of like that. It always kind of feels like you're slipping off, like I just did there, because of that weird sheer slope there is to it. Not really a fan of it, but it's at least visually interesting, so I'll give it that, and it makes sense architecturally as well. Although why they'd be forming a step, I have no idea. This is an unusual way of laying out your trellises or whatever. But here we have 3 small fans, which make one bigger one. Well, if we can hit this third one. Hitboxes can be a little annoying sometimes, can't they? So here we are. And after we climb this entire thing, we can then jump down into the moat nearby for the achievement. Wait, sorry, that's Crackdown. Just the elaborateness of some of these ascents reminds me a lot of the agency building, but I think I mentioned that in the previous video, but it still holds true. Yeah, these studs really telegraphed what was going to be here, didn't they? So here we are, finally at the top of the art gallery, overlooking the museum. So let us see just how ridiculous these chicken glides can get. This actually isn't the most ridiculous. They actually do get quite long and quite tricky for some of the optional ones, but we'll see those when we see them. Yeah, that kind of thing can be a pain, because if Chase's hand hadn't hit that loop, I would have missed it, even if the chicken had gone all the way through. Because the hitbox is only on Chase. Again, I mentioned that before, but it's not as, it's more obvious here than it was then. At least they give you plenty of time to correct yourself. And the camera follows fairly well in these sections as well, so it's not nearly as annoying as it may seem initially. I mean, at first it can be quite tricky, but when you kind of get the trick, it's really no big deal. And here we are on top of the museum. But before we actually climb that wall, we have this ledge we can go around instead. And whenever we've found these ledges before, we've always found something useful to get. That one down there that we can see is one we'll get much later. Can't really get there from here. But this one, on the other hand, I quite like the view of the districts you get with these kind of ledges. It's very satisfying to see just how high you are. Mike Northeast has a great hat. I like him. He's not really a character, he's again just a model, but I like him. I'm not sure if these characters are maybe like the names of the minifigures or something like that that they're sold as, or if they're unnamed as minifigures, but either way, I like that they all have unique models. It's pretty neat. It's a good way to fill the world with different things without them getting too samey. Considering they have 290 of the things. Only, of course, some of them are civilian models, but that's still enough of them. That's still like 250 of them that were civilians. So, before we break into the museum, let's just pick this up and get a good view of this district. And let's see what we can do inside the museum. after one last sweep. I like that view of the city there, that looks pretty good from here. I apologise for any aquaphobics. So here we are at the Colossal Fossil Hustle. I like that name.
Don't worry about this job, Chase. Consider it payback for how much the gift shop charged for that dinosaur pen when you were 11.
Feathers. 4 letters.
Down?
No, across. What?
I like that the guard seems really annoyed with himself that he fell for that. It was a cute joke, but personally I think Tangle did it better, but there you go. Then again, it's an easy joke to make, so of course everyone's probably made that joke at some point. And it was a cute pun as well.
I just called Sheriff Huckleberry, and he told me that he hasn't seen you in hours. Where are you?
A lead came up, Chief, and I think it points straight to Rex.
So, not only have you ignored my orders, you're probably about to take something expensive again. Are you sure this is connected with Fury?
Yes. Vinny's asked me to get the museum's robotic Tyrannosaurus Rex for someone. It can't just be a coincidence.
That does sound like Fury's style. Alright, I'll let you follow this one, McCain. But if it doesn't lead to Fury, then that T-Rex won't be the only extinct
I was like that
thing
the
around
chief
here.
follows up with, yeah, that's a pretty sound plan. Shows just how, like, ludicrous Rex really is as a person. I'm just trying to get this to work because there's something here that I want to do, but this particular area is annoying to do it in. Yeah, that's a very sneakily hidden set of things you need to do for the shields in this level, those 5 T-Rex posters. That's why I wanted to get them on this run, because it's so annoying to get them. The flowers are easy, but that was a pain.
This car holds the world speed record. When it was being flown from the factory, it fell out the back of the plane, reaching a terminal velocity of 500
I like those
miles
little
an hour.
things. So this is actually the first time I ever actually listened to all of them in this recording. I never actually bothered with most of them. But hey, that might look somewhat familiar. Yeah, the Emerald Knight has a museum exhibit, which is pretty good foreshadowing if you haven't already unlocked it like we did. It's a cool looking train, so I like that. It makes sense that it's here as a centerpiece in this room.
This is the largest known silver Lego ingot to ever be found in the Bluebell mine, discovered by Silas Fletcher when it fell on top of him. It was kindly donated to the museum by his next of kin.
So let's find out more about the Emerald Knight.
This steam locomotive was unveiled at the opening of Lego City's very first train station. It wasn't used until 2 years later, when a second...
I like that joke, and again, this is actually the first time I ever actually heard that joke in this recording. Because I never bothered to listen to most of those. But I'm glad I really bothered to for showing them off for this LP, because some of these are actually quite funny. But yeah, the first thing we need to do, of course, is get the train out of the way. So let's see what's behind this ingot, first of all. Nothing, but it gives us the parts we need, with the little, weird coal things. And there we go. The Emerald Knight is pulled into the station. And got out of the way of most of the actual things. So now we just need to figure out what to do from here. It's actually a lot more straightforward than it seems. Slightly overcomplicated things here. But it feels like there should be more to it than there actually is, because it feels like there should be more that you do with this, but really it's just push it, break that, and add more to the platform. For some reason it kind of feels like it should be more complicated than that, but yeah. I guess it's just the way it's set up, with the size of the room and everything, and the fact that there's so many other things here. But we'll get around to using those in a bit. They aren't forgotten, they're just not relevant to us yet. So let's crank this. I quite like the museum level. It's a little bit repetitive after the first time through, but for the first time through,
This is the historic Lego City tram, which was sold by con artist Tricky Jimmy to no less than 12 separate customers, all of whom neglected to notice that their receipts clearly stated carrot.
that hardly counts as a con. He told them straight up in the receipt. But yeah, it's a level that on replays can be a bit of a slog because of how much stuff you kind of need to do in each room, especially if you're trying to get all the things that you haven't got the previous time through. But other than that, it's got some neat set pieces, so I like the level overall, even if it does have its weaknesses. But yeah, now we move the trolley out the way and see what we can do with these things. Once I've got around to watering these real quick while we're here. There we are.
This oil derrick is over 100 years old. Oil derricks are named after their inventor,
That's a
John
cute one.
Oil.
The joke is that Derek is an actual name. So here we actually get to use one of those things down below. This machine. That actually, as you can notice from that little centerpiece on top of it, makes keys out of gold. That's a neat machine. I kind of like that machine. There's not really a lot to talk about with this level outside of the many gimmicks to it, really. It's a fairly straightforward level, but there's a lot of back and forth in each of the rooms you end up in. So as a result, it can feel a little bit overly winding. Like, this room is taking a very long time, that kind of thing, even if it's only the one room. While there's plenty to do in it, again, on replays, the amount of stuff you need to do can be a little disconcerting. But here we are, the final tier of it. So we just need to work out what we can do here. Well, let's get a few freebies first. Some of these posters are really close together. That's because it's actually relatively few places they could put those as well, but here we are. We get to control this little sub here, which is fairly cute. So let's get the remote control out and do so. I quite like the way the fish kind of, at least those two, kind of follow the sub around. That's kind of cute. Well, that might just be luck in my part that they were doing that. It may not be intentional. I think it's just a randomized AI path driven by the red fish. Whoops. Let's get this up here. As you may have guessed from all these, we will be needing to collect a lot of super bricks for this particular part of the level. Which means a fun little super build to play with. And again, a very circuitous route while we... Come on, spawn! While we do so.
This pirate ship was painstakingly reconstructed from 843 pieces dredged up from the bottom of the ocean. There were quite a lot of bits left over, so it probably wasn't a pirate
I do like that they basically found a kit with no instructions. That's pretty cute.
The dinosaur exhibit? Great. The T-Rex is bound to be in there.
Just a few more of these to go. There's plenty of them though.
I've probably got enough bricks to use that
Patience,
super build
Chase. We have plenty of bricks, but not quite yet. World enough in time, Chase. I know I completely misused that.
This diorama depicts the gathering of moon rocks. once thought to be an exciting new building material, as strong as normal rock, but 6 times lighter. Until someone pointed out
That's a
they'd
cute
been
guy.
weighing them on the moon.
I like the little thing of the floating astronaut thing, or floating astronaut.
Professor
box.
Patrick Palmer was the founder of Apollo Island, a scientist since he was 8. It took him many years to be taken seriously, as his pointy hair and maniacal laugh led everyone to believe he was either mad, evil...
That's a cute backstory for Apollo Island, I quite like that. The mad scientist who's not actually mad, just perceived as such. It's a cute little way of making fun of those kind of stereotypes. And now we can actually get access to our little pirate ship, come whatever it used to be before it was a pirate ship. Maybe even been a submarine, I don't know. First though, that's kind of a weird one. It's a very unique super big vehicle token. That one's a very odd one, but I do like how unique it is. There's no other character token, vehicle token quite like that one. There we have another. We've only got one more T-Rex here. This arrangement just kind of means it can lead you to believe there's something down there. There isn't. It's just falling back down to the earlier levels. Because it looks like a jump, but it really isn't one. It's just the end of a ledge. First of all, we're just taking care of this. Just while we're here. Because again, these are really annoying to find. So in here, we'll see what we can actually do in here now. This part feels like a fairly unnecessary, just kind of padding in the puzzle, honestly, putting the thing in the box. You could easily have just had the thing here. Feels like an extra step for no real purpose. But it gets us to use this room, which is pretty neat. So let's first of all get these in the right places. They need to be in the green, of course. Yeah, we easily missed though. That looked like it was totally in the green as well. That's kind of BS, but there we are. Now we have our way out. And if we hadn't got the super color gun, we have what we would have used to actually leave the area. I mean, again, I didn't need to use this, but I kind of want to show off how the levels flow properly. I could have skipped this entire room, and will next time, but I felt it important to show that off for those who didn't have to cheat on. For those playing along. This room's pretty interesting, fairly gimmicky again. It's a lot of fights and then a lot of like weird little puzzles. I like how simple that one is, just pushing the guy over.
Well, that
Cute, though.
certainly isn't a T-Rex.
One of the best-known facts about pterodactyls is that they have a silent P, which they use to blind their prey.
That's a
before
weird
attacking.
joke.
You can't
A very
get in
weird
here.
joke. But yeah, this is a very big puzzle. Very big. But now we have a feather. So what can we use this feather on this for? I wonder what we'll do here. These dinosaurs... I mean, dinosaurs did
That
have
isn't a
feathers,
T-Rex
but
either.
irrelevant.
This mighty dinosaur has a series of blade-like bones running along its back. Some scientists think it may have been used as a tool by bigger dinosaurs to cut
That's
bread.
another weird... There's a lot of weird jokes in this level. But I like that little kind of kicking the hind leg like a dog. That's pretty funny. And generally kind of cute too. Because these guys are far enough apart, these all count as a single enemy mob, even though there's like 5 enemies in this actual room. So instead of being handcuffed, they just disappear.
This place is impenetrable. Can
It was impenetrable, but now it's penetrated.
Oh.
See, we can't just kick him into the button, that would have been satisfying to do. But it's not how this game works. But yeah, now we have a lot of things to interact with. And some of them are quite interesting. I quite like the gimmick of this room. There's a lot of different things you can do to play with in here.
Where is the
That
T-Rex?
sentence structure went weird, but there you go.
If I ran this place, it'd be right in the middle, being all roar.
This dinosaur evolved extensive armor plating on its head, either because it was preyed upon by other dinosaurs or because it was really clumsy.
Yeah, you're noticing a lot of things we can't do anything with right now.
Ooh, an ancient Jurassic period box.
I don't even know if that's sarcasm or if he's just being stupid, though it's hard to tell with Chase sometimes.
Although this peaceful dinosaur had a vegetarian diet, it was deadlier than a Tyrannosaurus rex, as its massive size meant it would often accidentally
Aw,
squash
poor guy.
smaller dinosaurs.
I'm sure he didn't mean to.
Oh, great. They haven't built the T-Rex exhibit yet. I better find some super bricks. You know, this is exactly how stuff like
That's
the
an interestingly
Brontosaurus
clever joke.
These rare totems have been designed to spin around at great speed, mimicking the tribal dance of the people who built them. However, they are unable to mimic the latter stages of the dance where the participants fall over and moan about feeling ill. Coming soon, an exciting diorama showing what scientists believe our future will look like. Pending completion until we receive
I'm
the
looking
London
forward to
monkeys
seeing
on
that.
horseback.
I'll be back to this museum to check that out. They better deliver. But yeah, we have to finish each of these exhibits, of course, and I don't know how that did that much damage to the Sphinx, just breaking that box, but there we go. Let's just try and reassemble it if it'll let us get to the sweet spot. This is kind of annoying for me, because I'm having trouble finding the sweet spot here. It's weird, it's not letting me start the build at all. There we are. That's weirdly finicky, but this is a really obvious puzzle to solve, so let's just get on with it.
This Sphinx is an exact copy of the one found near the pyramids, except with some of the missing details restored. When we asked museum visitors to vote on whether ours was better than the original, it won by
Yeah, the
a
Brontosaurus joke was basically that
This mummy's tomb isn't cursed.
there were a couple of dinosaur skeletons that I believe were incorrectly assembled at first due to failed assumptions of how they should have gone together. I believe the two most famous ones are the Iguanodon and the Apatosaurus. I think those are the two that were the ones that were disputed later on. Can't remember about the Apatosaurus, about the Brontosaurus, but there you go. That may have been a legit one. Again, it's been years since I heard about that, so I can't remember exactly how things went there. But it's still a cute thing for it to reference. But, yep. Now we can build this guy and activate this exhibit. Let's see what the puzzle here is. Hint, it's mildly annoying. It's basically a slot machine. You have to try and get them all to match up to those posters at the back with each of the sections of them. This requires a lot of luck. It feels very random. I don't know if it even is random or if it's actually scripted, but it does feel it. But luckily that one is actually dealt with. But I didn't notice because I'm an idiot, so there we go. There we go, it's the one in the middle. It's now done, so let's just cement that one. Yeah, I hadn't actually noticed the one on the right was actually, I believe, completed. It may have been that there was... No, I think the top was actually wrong there, actually, if I remember that, so... But yeah, these can be a little... This is a bit of an annoying puzzle, because it really is up to the whim of the puzzle whether you actually end up landing. It's a fairly irritating thing to do. Finally, that one's in the right place, so yeah, I think it was the green parrot at first. I was being an idiot there. Well, let's try and get this last one matched up. Luckily, when they're matched, they no longer spin at all. It stops them spinning forever. Which means you don't have to remember to surrender each of them each time like an actual slot machine would need. But there we are. Yeah, but we've got other things to do first.
Now.
This is an LP after all, not just a casual playthrough, Chase. Don't jump the gun.
Coming soon, an exciting diorama showing the many uses of hay.
One of those many uses being, hey, you over there. Don't be rude. You made us respawn that. Rude boy. Let's just hit Kaifun for being rude. And then we can actually move this block.
I found a lot of super bricks. Maybe
Chase,
there's something
hold
I
your
can build
horses.
around here.
We'll be onto it soon. This you have to take an annoyingly far away place, and these arrows do not help because it's
Awesome.
it's pointing in the general direction, and it does look like it's going down the stairs, but it actually isn't. It's just because it's on the bottom right of the balcony. That is a really obnoxious place for those arrows to go, though, because it does make it look like you have to go downstairs, hence my confusion there for a second. But let's finally put this on here. Build this button. And honestly, this is a weird thing. There is literally nothing in here.
Hey, I can use them to build a T-Rex. That is lucky.
Yeah, this is a really weird room because there's like no reason to ever actually come in here. I'm breaking everything. And no, you can't paint the rest of this room blue because it's not the right kind of bricks. The colour gun can't help us either. Either, you know what I mean. So let's see what this exhibit's like. This is less like a museum though, and more like Eureka.
This diorama depicts Robin Hood's less popular cousin, robbing Hoodlum. While he also stole from the rich, he never really got around to giving to the poor, probably because he was too busy.
Yeah,
stealing
Eureka
from
is like
them.
a small recreational centre for young children in England. It's kind of a little educational thing with a lot of exhibits based off varying like primary and secondary school level things. Like the workings of the inside of the mouth represented by a giant pair of teeth, that kind of thing that you can kind of crawl around and explore. And like there's also like a weird mini game with that where it's finding the
This
tooth that's
diorama
rotten,
depicts
which changes
two
every now and then.
cavemen
It's
inventing fire and the wheel. Due to complaints of inaccuracy, we have removed the third caveman previously shown.
although while
inventing the
Eureka was
laptop
kind of
computer.
cool when you were a young child, Magna is a similar thing in England, but it's for older kids. And it's got more interesting exhibits, like a fire tornado. I don't know if it's still open. It was years ago when I last went, like decades, but I remember it being kind of neat. And yeah, doing all of the exhibits nets us that trophy, that shield piece. So finally, let's build this T-Rex that we've been so waiting for. That's a nice T-Rex.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex was one of the largest carnivores to ever live until the birth of my Uncle Dave, who can put
I
away
think
a
he just
meal
your
like
mum with his
nobody's
Uncle
business.
Dave.
That's right, Chase. Keep it low key.
This game promised giant robot T-Rexes, it delivers giant robot T-Rexes. So after we've gone through a bit of the usual summing up of the level, we have a fairly fun bit coming up. One of my favourite parts of this game, because it's just so wonderfully ridiculous. Thank you times 8 multiplier, and there's our gold bricks for the evening. So, once we've loaded this up, we'll be having a lot of fun. I like that cutscene demonstrates both the things that the T-Rex can do as well. It's just a shame that you don't get this as an actual vehicle token, because this would be so much fun to be able to just spawn on a vehicle point and just ride around on. That's the one downside to this T-Rex, is that you can't ride it whenever, but it's just such an amusing thing to do.
I got the T-Rex out of the museum. Do you want me to take it to your private buyer?
Nah, he don't want anyone meeting him but me. I'll send you the location. of the
Yeah, this
job.
thing only has one heart, but it's also all it ever needs.
I know you're reading, Casey, but this guy's been a gooch.
Tell me about it.
Sure. He's real impatient. Like he needs all this stuff yesterday. His whole business has changed. Time was, you took stuff to make a profit. But this feels different. Like there's something bigger going on. Yeah, listen to me. Going on like my mother. Just dropped off that T-Rex.
Wow, that guy's been playing Pac-Man.
Hey, Chase, are you busy?
Well, I'm kind of...
Great. Are you getting close to finding my dad?
Yeah. I'm on a job for a guy who I'm sure is working for Rex. Once I find Rex, I think I'll find your dad.
You really think Rex has my dad? Is it because I testified against him?
Rex is the kingpin. He must have something to do with your dad's disappearance. But I don't think it's because of your testimony. If it was, he'd just grab you, right? That's what I'd do.
What?
You know, if I was evil. Which I'm not.
So what is Rex's connection to my dad?
I don't know. But once I do know something, I'll call you.
I just love the T-Rex. It's so satisfying to drive, even though it only really has 2 attacks. You never really use a tail swipe. I mean, the roar one. The tail swipe's very useful with its stomping attack thing. The roar is a useless one because there's never any enemies close, far enough away from you to be worth it that you can't just tail swipe.
The T-Rex is at the drop-off point, Vinny.
That's great. Yeah, just one more job and I can get my payment and wave goodbye to my private buyer. That creep.
You're gonna meet him? I don't envy you. He sounds mean.
Yeah, some people. They ain't like us, Chasey. They don't have class.
Do you need help with this job, then?
I don't know. I mean, the other thing he wants is some boat from the fire department. Well, I got guys who can drive it, but,
What's the problem?
the keys to it are in the fire chief's safe. The only people who can get near to it are firemen. Whoever does the job would have to go undercover. You reckon you could do that?
Yeah? Yeah, I mean, I've obviously never done that before, but I think I could do it.
Then the job's yours. Thanks,
Look at
Chasey.
that.
I
Yeah.
won't forget it.
That's such a cute way to put it. But I'll see you next time as we join the fire brigade. That'll be fun. Not Robot T-Rex, but what is?